Greetings gamers, my name is Johnny Retro and welcome back to another episode of Retro Raider. And that is right, today we are going to talk about the EVERCADE console. First things first guys, I really hope that you guys had an amazing Christmas with your family, your loved ones, your friends. And let me know down below what presents did Santa brought you. Let me tell you, I had some amazing presents this year. The best one was of course the one that you guys are seeing right now. My family bought me the EVERCADE VS system, and of course that I couldn't miss the opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys about this brand new retro console. So for those of you that don't know what the EVERCADE is all about, here is some background information first. This console was produced by the company Blaze Entertainment, and it is actually the follow-up of the original EVERCADE that was released last year in 2020, although the original EVERCADE was a handheld system. This new version, of course, the VS, is the home console version of the handheld. Now, going back a couple of years ago when the original EVERCADE was originally announced, I was excited for the system, but I didn't jump into that wagon, and this is why. I am not a big handheld gamer. Even on the Nintendo Switch, which I love, I always play my Switch on the dock mode. But when the VS was announced, I was hyped. I was seriously hyped because, you know, the handheld was a success. It sold very well, and it actually caught the attention of, you know, not only retro gamers but also, you know, collectors and new gamers that like indie games. So yeah, I thought that this console was the perfect product for me. About the actual system, and this is it. This is the EVERCADE. Very slick, very tiny, small, but it is sturdy, it is well built, and it fits perfectly in any setup, right? We have 4 controller USB ports right here, of course that we can hook up until to for players. We have this lid right here where we insert the cartridges. I will show you the cartridges in a bit. Basic connections right here, and this is the white version. I believe that there was a limited black edition of the console. Me personally, I actually prefer the white one. I think that it has a more retro vibe to it. And about the games, well, these are the cartridges, and yes, we are getting these games on cartridges. Very sturdy plastic box right here with manuals. That is right, full color manuals like the good old days. I'll show you guys these ones in a bit. The cartridges that we have are these ones right here. They kind of remind me a little bit of the you know, quick shot supervision cards. You know, they're, you know, spot on. They're small, they're handy. You can connect up to 2 cartridges on the system. So if you connect 1 cartridge only, you will see the library of this specific card. If you connect 2 cartridges, you will see both libraries. And the fun thing is that sometimes if you combine the right cartridges, you can unlock secret games. Now, about the interface of the console, it's pretty straightforward. It's simple. It has this, you know, neo-retro vibe to it. We can add filters, we can add scan lines, we can change the aspect ratio, we can change the backgrounds. When we launch a game, we have a little tease, we have some information and backstory about the game. Not only about the game itself, but the company. We can organize our game library. We have save states, of course. We can connect the console to the internet via Wi-Fi, so of course that we can update the firmware. And I think there's going to be some really interesting surprises in the future. And about the packaging, well, my family bought me the premium pack. It comes with the console, of course, 2 controllers, and 2 games included. And let me just grab the controller here. I think that the controller is very good. It's comfortable. It has a decent D-pad. There are 4 action buttons right here. We have 4 shoulder buttons also. This is of course the follow-up of the handheld, which already included those. Have a menu button, start and select. The only thing that I'm picky about this is that I really don't like to have these, you know, on top. I would prefer, you know, the classic approach with, you know, side by side. Yeah, it's well built. It's a decent controller. USB, no wireless. It is what it is, but the cable is very long. But the interesting thing is that if you don't want to use these, you can actually plug in other USB controllers. I know for a fact that the Xbox controller works on this console, so yeah, it's a win-win in my opinion. But now the creme of la creme. The games. That's why we are here, right? We want to play games. what type of games can you play on the EVERCADE? We're talking about a retro system here. The majority of these libraries would be from the late 70s all the way up to the mid 90s. So the sweet spot of retro gaming, of course. We're talking about 8 and 16-bit graphic games here. All the way back to the Atari 2600 into the Genesis, more or less. And all of these cards are multi-cards, so what we get is small gaming libraries with each game. We got collections like the Bitmap Brothers, we have stuff from the Intellivision, Atari, Jaleco. These are the two cartridges that came bundled with the premium pack. Here we have the Technos Arcade cartridge, and here we have the Data East Arcade. Most of these game collections will be the arcade versions of the game. This is not a rule here, but for the majority of the releases so far, what we are getting are the arcade versions. We also have some handheld games collections like the Atari Lynx, but the type of games that I'm most looking forward to play are these ones right here. Because what these are modern indie games with a retro approach and also some homebrew games. So for example, I have two collections here. These are the EVERCADE collections 1 and 2. So EVERCADE Studios is an indie studio that releases and publishes modern retro games or neo-retro games. So we have stuff like, the beat 'em up Coffee Crisis, we have Old Towers, we have Little Medusa, and then this cartridge right here. This is the EVERCADE Dual game cartridge, which includes two homebrew games that were actually released for the Sega Genesis. And here we have Xeno Crisis and Tanglewood, which is cool because usually in these type of situations, modern indie games, what we get are just, DLC because, it's hard for an indie studio to release their games on a physical format. And then about the homebrew games, and you guys know that I'm a huge fan of new games for older consoles, but these homebrew games usually, the physical releases of these games are very limited or very expensive. Which brings me to the price of the EVERCADE. Well, the EVERCADE VS costs around 99 euros. The cartridges, it depends, but on average, we're talking about 20 euros per cart. So for me, and again, this was given to me by my family, so there's no endorsement here, guys. In terms of prices, I think it is spot on. And like I've said in the beginning of the video, the system is being very, very well received. It's a success. And this is why I think it appealed a lot to the retro gaming collectors, because these are actually quite collectible. They even come numbered. For example, this is the number 1. Physical media all the way. Again, we have the cartridge and we have the full color manual. Let me just give you guys a small glance of the manual. I hope that you guys can see with the glare. It is what it is. But yeah, this is really a new retro console. So my personal thoughts about this, and in which sector of the market is this console sitting on? I think that the majority of gamers that will be interested in this product, both the VS and handheld, will be retro gamers for sure, and also collectors. But if you also like indie games, if you're a casual gamer, if you just want an easy plug-and-play system to play, and a cheap option also, I think that this will be a great opportunity or a great product for you. Once again, the majority of the games that we have here are arcade games. I like the fact that they're investing on arcade versions of these classic games, and trust me, there's a lot of hidden gems going on here. We have stuff, for example, like Double Dragon or Battle Axe. But then we have stuff like, Mysterious Stones. So we're looking at, a lot of side-scroller games, beat 'em ups, a couple of fighting games, shooters, also a couple of platformers. What games would I like to see in the future? Well, I would love to see some more, modern indie titles, and also a couple of more homebrew games, because I don't think that they're going to have a lot of challenges in licensing these. And even though, guys, this is an emulation-based console, it is true, but all of these are licensed. So yeah, these are official releases. In terms of compilations, what I think it is missing, but again, there's a lot of space to grow here, are some good old RPGs. I would love to see RPGs compilations. For example, an Ultima compilation, a good old Squaresoft compilation, or compilations. what else, Enix compilations, the good old Enix games. Again, I think there's room for that, so fingers crossed. Guys, what is left for me to say? I think that this is really a dream come true for me, because I've always felt that there was this demand on the market for a product like this, even though, and again, it is being very successful. This is a niche product still, and I think that this wave kind of started with consoles like the Retron 5. I think that the Retron 5 paved the way for a lot of these modern retro systems. And I don't know if you guys remember that scandal, the biggest scheme in gaming history, or one of the biggest ones, the Retro VGS, later on, the Coleco Chameleon. The Coleco Chameleon was going to be something like this, even though I think that the proposition was, an FPGA system. It totally flopped, but the team from Blaze Entertainment did it right. They really grabbed the concept and did it right this time. So if I can sum it up, my opinion on the EVERCADE VS, I think that this console is the future of retro gaming. And there you go, guys. I really hope that you have enjoyed this video, and please let me know down below your thoughts on the EVERCADE, both the handheld and the EVERCADE VS. And for fun, let me know what type of games would you like to see on an EVERCADE cartridge in the future. Guys, if you have the extra time, feel free to follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.